Welcome back to Law Call. During the break, we got an email question. We'll get to that directly. I believe it will be up, but I know the essence of the question was that there was an accident. Here it is. It's from John. I was in a wreck that crunched my back bumper and my neck is sore, but nothing too serious. The other driver says he has insurance, but would rather just leave them out of it and pay cash to fix my car. Is this a good idea? Well, Kelly, this is something we just talked about briefly earlier, and this is not an uncommon scenario here. I'm just going to take care of it. Let's don't get anybody involved. Hear no evil, see no evil. What would you recommend to John on that particular situation?
As you just said a few minutes ago, Ted, it's absolutely not a good idea to just pay cash, especially if you feel like you have any injuries. You want to get the police to document the actual event. You're actually supposed to always report to the police. Legally, you're supposed to report to the police anytime that there is any sort of an accident. So when somebody wants to do that, your alarm bells need to go off. You need to be a little concerned, perhaps, about how this is all going to work out. And you have to protect yourself. And the main thing that you have to do is you do need to call and report it and have an accident report prepared so that you can document that for the insurance companies, and then they can go to battle for you as to who was at fault. A lot of people don't realize it, but your insurance company, when you pay for your auto insurance, they have a duty to defend you. So you absolutely want to get them involved so that they will take care of it in case there are fingers being pointed at you and you weren't at fault. So you want to make sure that all of the insurances are involved and everybody can figure it out that way.
Right, so. And even though that other participant may be acting nice on the scene, it may seem like, and they could be a perfectly nice individual, but things can change after they get home and think about it. So make sure and document it there at the scene,
right.
Get it correct. Make sure if there's any witnesses, they get their names and contact information, because it's important to have that information. And what will happen typically when one of the local law enforcement agencies comes to the scene is they will give you that night what's called a driver's exchange, which will give you the information needed and necessary to open a claim. It will give you the individuals that are involved in the accident and all the occupants in the vehicles, their names and contact information, and the insurance information and policy number for both of or however many people are involved in the accident, whether it be 1, 2, 3, or more cars, so that you have that information so that you can get in contact with the appropriate insurance companies, get the claims open, get everything running, get it all processed and on the right path. It is much easier to do things right from the get-go, and it's much smoother if you have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed than if you have to go back and fix it after the fact. I know I've had to do that many times, and it's much more difficult, and the claims process can be slow anyway, so you don't want to do anything to take away from getting to the finish line, which is getting you whole and getting you back and making sure that you can seek and obtain any medical attention that you need in order to recover, and also to get your vehicle fixed. Property damage is, like I said, that's one of the biggest pet peeves that people have when they come in to see us, is they likely would not have hired an attorney if they could have gotten their property damage resolved quickly, and a lot of the insurance companies jerk them around and they have a difficult time. Then they also, by this time, the adrenaline's wearing off and they're realizing that they do have physical injuries that they do need to get attention and get taken care of, and then at that point in time it can become an adversarial relationship. So it's important that we get in, we get the situation, try to get it off and running smoothly from the start if at all possible.
And Ted, just from a logistical standpoint too, we've seen it where people have given false information at the scene, where they've done a driver's exchange, but people are going to be a lot less inclined to do that if they're dealing with a law enforcement officer in terms of giving false information. So you want to make sure that you have them involved. And it also would be a crime if they did that. So you can tag them for that as well.
Right. And we talked earlier, Kelly, about uninsured motorist coverage. That's one of those benefits that you can purchase for yourself. But a common thing that I see that may not be always looked at is you can also potentially qualify for uninsured motorist coverage for any person that lives in your household that's a blood relative. There's potentially resident relative coverage for uninsured motorists, as well as if you're a passenger in the car, you can typically qualify on the driver's uninsured motorist. So there's a lot of different avenues that have to be looked at in order to make sure that you are making sure that you know all of the benefits that are available that may be needed to help you out. And we mentioned briefly earlier the stacking of the coverage. And just so I'm clear on that, the stacking means that you can get multiple levels of coverage applied for one incident. If you're a family that has multiple cars in the household, you can do a stacking coverage, and that allows that coverage to add up by the number of vehicles in the household.